Starting in a couple of minutes, just so you're all aware though, the fire exits are at the far end of the hall and over here. Go. Yep, okay. Right, good evening everyone, thank you and welcome. Please be aware that the meeting may be recorded. As I say, I've made you aware of where the fire exits are, the far end of the hall and over there. We do have a section for public participation and questions. Please note, as we've got so many people, that the questions, as always, will be at the discretion of the chair and as per standing orders. We have just been giving a list of questions. Obviously, we have not had a chance to look at those, so we will take those and we'll look at them and answer in due course.
The one that's just been given to us was given to us earlier because I had a copy of it.
It was anonymous.
Yeah.
Nobody looked at it, it was anonymous. So
we didn't know who to respond to then, so we just left.
I'm not anonymous, it's my questions. May I ask when it could be, when I'll get some answers?
Yeah, or I would imagine probably within, if they're ones that don't require an answer from,
It'll be down to the clerk and what's scheduled.
Okay,
but some of them may need to go
Can't the
before,
gentleman ask
some
them
of
to-
them need to go before the council for decision or for information.
Is there any reason why I couldn't have them tonight?
As I just explained, yeah, but we
vocalise
cannot be given them at this
questions.
shorter notice and expect answers. But as I say, you've given to us now with your contact details and your name, so we will get back to you in due course.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Murphy.
But basically, can you just give us an update? I know it's on the agenda on the defibrillator because there's been quite a few issues raised.
We have,
Sorry, I'll get that one, yeah. Yeah, thanks ever so much, yeah. Obviously, as you know yourself, being a councillor, there's all sorts of procedures that we have to go through and they do take time. We have to do the correct procedures. But there has been a thorough investigation by the HR facilities and they had come up with their recommendations and they then been passed to the finance committee and that was actually discussed yesterday. Like you say, it is on the agenda, so we'll cover it in full detail when we get to that item on the agenda. Thanks to you for bringing it to our attention. Right, other questions?
It's not a question, but I didn't come to the last meeting because I was away, but I did view it online, and I believe there's an error in the minutes. If I could just clarify it, please.
Sorry, if I could just stop there. Now, if you viewed it online, you actually weren't at the meeting. Obviously, you're looking at an edited version of what happened, and the minutes are actually decided by the council. That applies to every council in the country.
So even if the minutes don't reflect the
minutes are decided by the council. It's not
Okay.
it's a legal matter. You may disagree, but you weren't here.
Okay.
And the minutes
Well,
are decided by
I will ask the. What, you got the meeting? Right.
Sorry, it goes through the chair.
Okay.
You've asked your question.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll ask my question then. Is there any other reason, or the reasons that you gave at the last meeting, why you discounted the quotation that was obtained by Mr. Goodwin? You referred to BS 5395 6180 and the Regulatory Reform Act or the Fire Safety Order 2005. I'm just asking, is there anything else other than that? Because you said it didn't comply with the regulations.
The way the system works is that we go for quotes. We had two quotes that explained to both parties what was required.
Yeah, I was at the meeting before, so I didn't hear.
Sorry, can you let me finish?
Yeah.
It went advised to the council looked at the two quotes, and they decided that was the best one to go for, the other one. I quite understand that Mr. Goodman's not, we like the contract, but we have to go for what is the best for the council.
Yeah, we
That's
used-
about what is best for the community.
At the meeting previously that I was at, and at the last meeting, you said that it didn't comply with the regulations. And I'm asking you, is there anything, any other reason, other than the fact that it didn't comply with those regulations?
The fact that it didn't comply with the regulations, it didn't comply with the, what we've been advised by the East Lindsey Planning Department is required. This is a conservation area, so it has to be within a certain of aesthetic value. It has to comply with what else is going on, and that was one of the reasons. But having said that, it was a democratic decision. It wasn't just my decision or any particular person, it was the decision of the council. It was done democratically.
Well, you
Okay,
did.
sorry, that starts that one. Have you got any other questions, please?
Yeah, I've got quite a few, but he doesn't want to take them
No,
from me.
other people have got the option to ask questions if they wish. Right, we've got quite a large amount of work.
I believe this question should be addressed to you, but I'm happy for it to refer to whoever gave you the advice that that it didn't comply. Who determined that the quotation obtained by Mr. Goodwin didn't comply with the regulations, and what specific aspect or aspects of the regulation do you consider the alternate quotation obtained by Mr. Goodwin does not comply with? And you've had notice of this question because I sent it to councillor, to the chair, to the clerk.
And you are, sorry, you Mr.
Mine, Mr. Wall.
Okay. Yeah, you also sent me something that's okay. Yeah, I did see that. There are certain things that can be answered, that can't be answered. As I say, that was a democratic decision. We do not get into the details, all right? Now, if you wish to send all these comments in by email, they will be answered in due course in the full amount.
I have sent them in by email to.
Please send them in again then.
No,
Making clearly, exactly clear what is required. We get a lot of harassment and vexation emails.
I'm trying to clarify why it's been because
Mr. Wall, I have
More than
asked.
5 minutes now.
Yeah, that's it. We've gone past it. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Why do emails seem to keep vanishing?
Sorry, what?
Why do emails seem to keep vanishing? Would any of the councillors like to tell me why?
No emails have vanished.
Haven't they?
No.
So you've just not replied to any of mine?
You are?
Andrew Warwick. Oh, you should know me, Mr. Buckingham.
Oh,
I'm a
right,
journalist.
You're the journalist.
So
Right. The
you-
online
you-
journalist.
You replied to... No,
What, sorry, which newspaper do you work for?
I'm a freelancer.
Ah, right, so online.
Daily Mail.
Right.
Then you're a-
Right, so you're
so you're a-
saying that emails are going missing? is
Yes,
that what you're
it
saying?
seems the gentleman there.
We,
just
I
said
am
that.
not aware of any emails going missing.
Are you aware of my email to you?
Probably.
Probably.
But
Only probably.
I've got no idea.
But you didn't reply.
Mr.
Any
Warwick,
of the other councillors?
Mr. Warwick, if you would make...
I'm asking a question. Any of the councillors care to tell me why
Yeah, you can,
I've had no reply?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Baxter.
Can I just say, I've chosen not to reply to you, Mr.
Yeah.
White.
Have you?
That's
Yeah.
that's
We do not have to reply.
Right. So you don't want to be
That's
accountable?
the answer. Could you please sit down?
Have to be
Within that, have you chosen not to reply to my emails as well?
Anybody else got any-
Mr. Baxter.
Have you chosen not to reply to
Has
my
anybody
I could
else-
make it here today from Leeds. Why couldn't you?
Right. Any questions from
Not
anyone?
particularly great value for the area, are you?
Right. Can you please stop? Otherwise you'll be asked to... Or we will
I'll be-
suspend the meeting
Will
and
you?
we'll ask you to leave.
Well done,
Councillor
Billy.
Buckingham, have you told the council not to reply to me?
Have you told other people not to
I
reply?
have not got the authority to tell anyone to do that.
Have emails been deleted?
Granted, Vicky, you have, but everybody
Okay,
else.
right, we'll move on. Thank you, we'll move on. We have got an agenda to meet.
well, you've got 30 minutes that you've identified as for asking questions.
Chair's discretion.
Oh, so you're going to.
Have you got any other questions?
Yeah, I've got plenty of questions, but you're not going to allow me to. I've got there's 20 minutes left at the
Where
minute.
can I find the parish council CCTV policy and data protection policies because I've looked on the website and can't find them.
Right, CCTV, we actually identified this before the festivities. All the signs are in place, we did go through.
No, I'm asking where will I
Could
find
you
the
please
policy?
let me finish?
No, I'm
This is-
asking you. You're answering a different question, like you're not a politician. I'm asking you, where will I find the parish council's written
Will
policy?
you please let me reply?
No, please answer my question. Not telling me that stuff's around here. I'm asking on the website, where will I find the council's policy?
If you let me reply.
Well, please do, but please don't tell me it's around, posters around here. I want to know
Right,
where on the
these-
website, that's my question.
There are, for the benefit of the public, there are rules and regulations in place concerning CCTV coverage. We detected before the festivities that although we met all the principles, there's 12 principles, although we met all of them, we did not have a policy in place. I suspect, and it goes back a long while, because in 2019 I did get the information from LALC about what was required. But then I resigned, it never progressed any further. We identified it before Christmas, and we have started the process of drawing up proper policy.
And what about data protection and policies like that?
Data
Because I
protection
can't find those
That's
either.
on the website, so
Yeah,
it's all there.
Under
Yeah.
which category? Because I've
Off
looked
the top of my
at
head, I don't know
policies
exactly,
and
just
procedures
that
and I
it's
can't find.
definitely there.
Chair, can I say if she has a query, she can write in, I will.
No, I'd like just
That
to,
will be the
I'd
best
like
way
him
to
to
progress
just
this.
say in the minutes, please, where, I'd like to answer the question in the minutes, where on the website will I find those policies,
At the
please?
chair's discretion, we have said that we will, if you give us your contact details.
I don't want to give you my contact details, I'm talking within here
Chair,
as the
may I
member of the
remind of the
public.
standing order 3, you can ask the person to leave details or they can be asked to leave.
Yeah. You are aware of that?
Why will I be asked to leave? Because I've asked an awkward question.
Right, now,
The 30 minutes.
No, it's at his discretion.
Are you aware that the signage for CCTV is illegible?
Have you given one of them sheets? Have you got one? I'll give it to him.
okay, at the chair's discretion, has anybody got a different question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just a bit confused. I'm sitting on the fence, but I want to know why all these accusations have been made against Mr. Baxter, and they've been sent in to you, and you've not replied to any. I just don't understand why not. Because I'd like to know that Mr. Baxter's innocent. I'd like to know he is not guilty of any of these crimes, but you're not investigating to give that.
We haven't
To
been
people.
given any evidence. All we've been given is allegations.
Have you
No, I
investigated-
gave you a detailed dossier.
Have you
in
investigated the
September
allegations?
With clarified information.
We've got
and
information,
evidence.
there are things like, we get Nocton reactors.
They
Nocton is
they
basically
are
5
evidence
people
of
have decided this is what's
doing,
happening.
they are,
That is not
they are gross
evidence. No
misconduct.
evidential value in any of it.
They are gross misconduct, he lied on his, he lied on
Councillor
his.
Gale,
But you're not
the
listening.
same applies to you. The chair controls the meeting.
You
have
control
made
the
your
meeting,
statement.
you
We are
control
now
the meeting,
moving-
to the deficit
This-
of the parish.
Why you
The
said
chair
him?
moves on.
Singular.
Right.
Why you
Can I
protecting him?
just ask one more question?
Yes.
I hear that basically the parish, the village wants a meeting in the village hall. And I've been asked if that can happen, that somebody needs to book the village hall to have a village meeting.
Right, the Highland Village Hall, we have a duty of care, like both the community and our neighbours, and it is built into our policies and our hiring policy. It has to be used appropriately for those who hire it. It's part of our village hall risk assessment, and it's actually mitigated in the hiring agreement. In terms of the agreement are not met, then the default condition is we need to refuse hire, because it has to be met. Those conditions have not been met.
Which condition can't be used for the village?
So they,
Which condition?
What's the village hall for?
so I cannot say that because of the BGPR, because you might be able to identify who the person is.
But you haven't identified to the person
So,
what it is not.
That person disclosed what they want to use as well.
yeah, if that person had a why not?
Oh, there you go.
So, any more?
What's the village hall for then? If it's not for the villagers?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
What is the village hall for if it's not for the villagers?
The village hall is for everybody. We've got people coming from Grimsby and Tetney and
Wait a
whatever.
minute, you just said the villagers,
But they
people who
all,
live here
they
can't
all
use the village
meet
hall.
the requirements of the hiring agreement. This particular one did.
They're not having a rave, they want a meeting.
I think that's the problem, so I don't
Have you ever said that?
But they didn't state what the village require was for, so we
Well,
didn't.
obviously they want a meeting.
But
We're
we
not
don't
talking
know
about
that
the
because they
teenagers wanting to party.
But
Right.
they
They
wouldn't
want to
disclose
discuss.
Right, I think we'll end this
What
discussion
they
here.
didn't disclose what they wanted it for.
It's like city driving.
Fair enough.
Right, okay, I'm going to call this.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. Because
Basically,
it
we're
wasn't
scared
there.
Right.
that the villagers don't want you.
Right.
The villagers want you gone. That's
If
the
this
problem.
does not stop, I will suspend the meeting.
You'd like a waste of space. These lot didn't say it, I'll say it, you're a waste of space. You all
No,
want
can
to
I
see
just
that
ask
and
you
get
what
gone.
principle you think that us, we are?
Go on,
What is it that makes us
What's
a
that
waste
now?
of space?
I agree.
Sorry, can I just ask you? Can I just ask you, sir?
The problem is, when you can't have a bleeding meeting because of this.
16 on a Facebook page in bloody democracy.
Can I just ask you, what haven't we done? What haven't we achieved?
Answer the question.
Can I just ask you,
This
what?
is what they're saying.
No, I'm asking
Nobody's
you.
answering the
I'm asking you,
question.
what haven't we done? What haven't we achieved?
You haven't looked at the evidence about Baxter for a start.
Mr. Max is something
I put a
separate.
complaint in due September, I'm still waiting to be dealt with,
With
and that's
regards to what?
disciplinary comments in minutes. No
Yeah.
response.
That will be.
That's the clerk's job. I'm asking as a council, as a
Exactly.
parish council. No, I'm asking as a parish council, what haven't we achieved?
The clerk is working on behalf of the council.
Supposedly.
Hey, yeah, that's his job.
Those minutes were-
Yeah, so why is he not doing it then? Why is he not answering
He
any
is
questions?
doing his job.
He's not answering
No.
it. We hear every meeting I hear people say they've sent emails and they've got lost. Why? Why?
They have not got lost.
This is what they're saying every meeting.
If they are not relevant and done properly, then they're not responding.
Get any answers.
So who decides on the policy?
I am going to.
Can I just come back in on that one thing?
Yes.
Because basically, I get in some sense why and hide behind policy and the law and things,
sorry,
but by not answering
Councillor Murphy,
questions,
can I just,
you're infuriating the village.
Always.
can you just stop right there,
No, I
please?
agree.
Councillor Murphy.
Okay, I'll-
Hey, hang on. Oi, oi.
This is why you're- this is
Shut up
why
for a
you're
minute.
not-
Let him say something.
What?
No, I won't.
You're in the parish council, and that
God.
cannot be moved. It's up to them. They're in, and it's their call on what they do, and they employ the clerk. No one can do anything about that. I've checked that out. He is employed by the parish council, and it's up to the parish council to deal with the clerk, and we cannot do anything about that. But what I do notice is that we have animosity between basically an old parish council and a
Look at the
new one,
faces you
and
bully,
two
look.
clerks. And it's causing fury in the village, and we need to somehow get over this bridge.
Quite right.
Now this bridge, basically at the minute, they're there. If it all goes horribly wrong and East Lindsey gets in, then you'll get the parish council. The East Lindsey District Councillor will then technically become part of a holding parish council. I don't think that's a good option myself.
No.
I think the only other option is a total resign and go out to the public.
Yes.
That is an option, but that also is not necessarily a sweet and easy solution, because you might end up with two sides on the parish council. At least you can let them scrap it out and sort it out. But I think as we stand right now, you're in place. And I've spoken to both Billy and I've spoken to numerous people. And believe you me, you will not get the truth. You will not really understand, because it's all gets quite complicated, and there's two sides to every story, and most sides actually come out with a good valid reason. As I sit relatively independent on all of this, but they're there. But you have to get to the bottom and answer some of these questions. And every time I've only been now twice in the last two, and you're deferring them, and that's antagonising everything. And I think that we need to basically take all these questions, and I would suggest you have a public meeting, not a parish council meeting, and actually do answer every single question at the next parish council, and that's your agenda. Get every public question answered. And if you can't do it, then make sure it's done by the next one. And that's your deadline. And at the minute, if you keep going on, and I think basically my recommendation would be forget both the past two clerks and somehow get a new clerk and start again, because I think you've now got in the right mess with clerks, and you've got two clerks fighting against each other. And I'm not calling the integrity of any clerk here. Any clerk, they both do their job in their own way. And I think
Councillor Marfleet, can you answer the
I'm just trying to find some middle ground here, and whatever I say or anybody says isn't going to go down particularly well.
I am taking notice of that, and then I will seek legal relief.
Can I ask if the council's aware that Mr. Baxter intends to resign? Can I ask if the council's aware that Mr. Baxter has already mentioned these two other people that he intends to resign? Did you know that?
What?
That he intends to resign this year? Mr. Baxter, do you deny that?
Mr. Baxter, please don't reply. Can we move on?
Please don't reply.
Right. I'm now going to call for a motion to exclude members of the public from public from participation.
Plain and simple.
Can I have a proposal?
I remind Councillor Gale that she is under standing order 3F, and remind her to keep in order, please.
And can I remind Mr. Baxter that you lied on your application and you shouldn't still be here.
Thank you, Councillor Gale. I'm taking that, and that'll do nicely.
Super duper.
Good. Okay, motion to exclude members of the public from participation. Can I propose?
We might even ask you if they've finished answering questions.
There's another 10 minutes yet. There's another 10 minutes yet. There's other people wanting to ask questions.
No, we've still got some more time.
Yes, the chair's discretion.
We've got more time. We've got three.
Can I ask a question? And I'm going to change the subject completely and bring it down. Defibrillator.
Yeah.
From the finance meeting, I understand that there's going to be a proposal to replace the defibrillator. This parish has got a lot of, including myself, elderly people that live in the village, and the majority of them live in couples. If somebody needs to use that defibrillator, if somebody has a cardiac arrest at home, first thing whoever they live with is going to do is call 999 to get assistance. The problem is they then cannot get that defibrillator because they're going to have to start performing CPR. I understand that we're going to have training for the defibrillator on both the defibrillator and CPR. Could the council look at setting up a group of people that can be trained on the CPR and trained on the defibrillator and have a mobile phone that they can pass from one to the other, so that in the event of an emergency, anybody can phone that mobile phone, they know where the defibrillator is, they can come and get it and give assistance.
So, so you're saying...
Sorry, the new defib contract will go through 999 as it did before, and then they'll get the code to test it.
That's fine.
So it will be in the hall and it will be coded. So
yes, that's fine, but that will take...
You're telling about putting a telephone number on the side of the defib?
No, having a telephone number that we can give to everybody within the village, so if they have a problem, if they need assistance, they can put it in their telephone as a nice number in case of emergency, so that they can phone that mobile number, and whoever's got that mobile at the time can go down, pick the defibrillator up and go and give assistance.
So, sorry, just to clarify, you're saying instead of phoning 999?
No. They phone 999. It's like a hotline. The problem is, to get assistance on a 999 takes so much time, and it's time critical.
Ambulance service on that point.
If we've got a mobile phone that people agreed to not take out the village. It always remains in the village, and whoever's on call 24 hours a day has that phone. If it goes off, they've got the number to the defibrillator. They can go pick it up and take it straight to where it's needed.
So you mean a team of people?
A team of people, yeah. Team of maybe a dozen people, and that mobile phone.
Decided at the next meeting upon research.
It can, but can we have it on the agenda at the next meeting?
I will add it to the task, the task list so we can track it, we'll track it.
Yeah. I mean, I've not got a problem helping out and doing a bit more research on it, but I think it could be good for the village. It doesn't need anybody else, it's something that the village does.
So, but if you've got somebody in the village that can come and get it for you, bring it to you, you'll still be working. Just do what you want.
That's great. Can I ask, when was the last HR committee meeting? I mean, since it's been formed, has that gone?
Yeah, it was formed a while back.
Yeah, I know, but
we've had Christmas and everything else.
yeah, but there's one due in February, is there?
Could I just say before, around having the mobile phone and things, just having the people who sort of work, it was my mother that actually needed it 28th of October.
All right, yeah.
And the ambulance service told us to come and get it, and it was out of order, and it's still out of order.
That's disgusting.
I think it's absolutely disgusting that the council...
That needs sorting.
That actually comes up. It does come up on the agenda. That's come up on the agenda, and we'll give you an agenda item with all the details.
We had one straight at work within a few days, and it was disgusting. What if it's your family? What if it's your kids? What if you needed that one out there? What if you needed that one?
And unfortunately, this is the
Yeah.
third time we've been in this situation.
It hasn't, it's not been working for ages.
We're not notified about
The one at the document is fine if you have a heart attack,
This will be answered in full later. We obviously we haven't gone into great detail. It will be answered in full. We'll get that part of the somebody there
All I wanted to say, I don't know who anybody is, I'm not getting involved in it, but this gentleman here who's talking about the what he's actually talking about is actually an NHS recognised system. It's called for community responders.
Right.
If you look into community responders, I have been involved in the past in a different parish before I moved into North Osby. They are NHS trained first aiders, so they are not paramedics, but they get very similar training to what's known as ambulance technicians.
Right.
Okay, they're called community responders. If you look at that, people from the village can become community responders if they do so wish.
Yeah.
They will get heightened first aid training, and they will also, in their cars, they're then allowed to carry their own defib devices. They will have expanded first aid kits, not just something that you buy from Amazon, and they will get much better training if that's something that the village wants to set up.
Do you know how we contact or who to contact?
If you
Just an
Google
NHS?
community responders, I think
You'll
you'll find all the
it. Right,
information.
okay, lovely.
If you have any trouble, give me a...
What's your name?
My name is Tom Wilson.
Brilliant, thank you.
He keeps making the allegation.
Thank you very much.
But I would like to add to that caveat, as a long-time first aider, not having a working defib is ridiculous.
Yeah, we're aware of that. We are, yeah.
The reason this came about will...
I'm not interested in the reasons, it's just, we just happen to be in a position, and I'm just saying that it shouldn't be in that position.
You'll explain, you'll sort of understand a bit better later. Oh, sorry, yeah, you were next.
My question now is more towards Colin than the rest of you, to be honest, but just to clarify something with what Colin's told us at the moment. So, if it appears that there isn't a defibrillator within the village other than private ones working, of which Colin, I believe, has.
Chair, I can't hear him.
It's fine, don't worry, I'm
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah, just mainly aimed at Colin, but I thought everybody ought to know. So, what is the current situation with regard to DFID? I believe Colin's offered something, but I'm not sure on that. So I'm just trying to find out what the position is, because if there isn't one local, you know, God forbid that somebody's going to need one and not know exactly what to do.
There's one in the school, reception area, there's one in the GP practice. Ours will be out of hours then. Ours will be, if you ring
With respect, I'm talking 24
No, and
hours.
Colin has really kindly offered his for use while we are getting our one sorted. So
Just to
for
let
the
you know,
next 2
last
weeks.
year I lost my stepdad in the middle of the night with no defib around,
So-
and yet we've not got a defib in the village. Granted, it wasn't in this village. Unfortunately, we had a house that we lost him, and your excuses are you'll find out about that
Wait
later.
till the next
There's one in
No,
the-
they're not excuses, we're explaining why and so
It's
why.
an agenda item, but it's Colin's
Yeah, but
kindly
they aren't outside
the
the building.
details are on Facebook.
So they're within the building,
Yeah.
etc. I'm assuming, and it's an assumption that Collins is the same, and I'm looking at Collins there, that if it's something during the night and what have you, somebody would have to either wake or phone Colin. For me, it's very easy because I'm next door to Colin, but you know, for others around the village, people could be running round and
Well, the
saying
defib,
so
sorry,
what is
the
the current
defib will,
situation?
will answer your questions in a short while.
Within this
We're on the
region?
agenda.
Yeah. Right, but we've now come to the end of the public participation period. So, motion to exclude members of the public from participation, and I have a proposal, please.
All right.
Sorry, it's Councillor Marshall.
Oh, we can't speak.
No,
I've said something. I'm the board of you.
Seconded, Annabelle.
I said something, but I suppose it was you.
That's four, apart from Councillor.
Really pushing his bag and shaking off.
Abstained.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, apologies for absence from any councillors.
We have an apology from Councillor Spence. The reason is, has been disclosed to me, it is appropriate. It's been passed to all councillors, and whilst it is a councillor's decision, I would note that it is appropriate. However, the final decision to accept or not lays with the council. This is for Councillor Spence.
Right, yeah, we proposed, proposed by Councillor Howard and seconded by Councillor Marshall, and the vote to accept. Yeah. Are you accepting?
Did you say that the reason had been passed around the council?
No, it's in
No,
the.
I don't.
So, yeah, so that's unanimous to accept those, Mr. Baxter.
Okay, thank you.
Right, declarations of interest, have we any declarations of interest?
None have come to me, but before the meeting, obviously, I'd invite councillors if they wish to declare anything out of the meeting.
No? Happy to make everybody know?
No.
No. Item 6, 10 minutes of the last full parish council meeting. The 3 minutes are accurate.
I have an issue in that I think the meeting minutes were pretty much spot on, and I would like to thank Councillor Snell for making them so short and neat. But my thing is that within the time that's passed since then, the November minutes have been changed all around again, and that's not acceptable because we voted for them to be
Councillor
closed
Chair,
off.
this is voting 27 of the 4th. This is
interrupt
on 13th
Baxter.
November.
Yeah, it is, yeah, that's already been resolved, the November minutes.
The November minutes haven't been resolved because they've been changed. We put changes in, they were signed off, and since then they've been changed again by the clerk. You can't just change the minutes after you've signed them off.
Chair, we are talking about the 4th of December minutes. We're not talking about anything else.
Yeah.
But you can't sign off the 4th of December minutes when
Councillor
the
Gale,
13th
if you
minutes
have,
have been
if you
changed.
have an issue, could you actually make an official complaint to the?
She is doing. She is doing.
What's the use of making an official complaint when you don't do anything about it?
What's changed?
Is there a proposal?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'll tell you what's changed. Councillor the Clark person, Clark Baxter, has redacted big chunks of the 13th of November notes. It was agreed at that meeting that certain things were discussed, other things were agreed, and my note. Will you not interrupt, Baxter?
This has already been approved and it's gone through. That's it.
You've changed
Right.
them. You've changed them. They've
So,
all agreed
minutes
and
are-
signed off by us, and then Mr. Baxter's gone in and
Are we
changed
going
them.
to, we are talking about the 4th of December minutes.
No, she's not. At the December meeting, you accepted those amendments.
That's correct, and we.
So why aren't they showing on the minutes that you're now trying to vote on?
Oh no, I think you're confused. So they're talking, Councillor Gale is talking about the November minutes. We're trying to approve the
Yes, I
December
know.
minutes.
Yeah, that's what I understand she's talking about, is November minutes.
I think
I've got a copy of the November minutes. And the amendments that she put forward,
There were a series of comments in those.
yeah, they've all been blanked out. They've all been blanked out.
That's
So
because-
nobody can see what Councillor Gale said.
That is because they were redacted because they were libelous.
No.
No.
I was correcting
No, you
libelous
agreed.
statements.
We took advice from the people we take advice from, Ernest.
From who? I was correcting a libelous statement.
And they were classed as libelous.
Statements were
If we
made at the
put those
meeting,
in
and I corrected them, so they
writing,
weren't
it costs
libelous.
all these people.
Section 3F.
Councillor Gale, please
As well.
respect
What's
the
the-
chair.
Who's running the meeting? Is it the clerk or the chair?
Baxter doesn't respect the
Right,
council.
I'm going to move on and I'm going to ask for a vote on the 4th of December minutes.
Well, if people check the minutes before they came to the meeting, they'd see
Right,
these things.
can we have a motion to agree the minutes of the 4th of December meeting? Do we have a proposer? This is the proposal, to accept the 4th of December. Yeah. Okay, do we have a seconder? Right, do we have a vote?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here. I
Okey-doke.
can't say the right.
Sorry, Diane. Well, that's, oh yeah.
You can't
This is
vote because you
actually-
vote and I wasn't here.
And I'm abstaining because I don't agree with item 6,
Well,
but everything else is
So
fine.
it's two,
I'm abstaining.
Oh, there you go, then you're.
okay, right, okay, what I will do then, I will, I think it was adjourn, so we move that, the agreement of the 4th of December minutes to the next.
If someone's got a video, I'll watch
Sorry, you can't watch a video and then vote on it, because I'm not allowed to make comment on the video.
The only one that we've
No,
seen-
sorry, you can't have it both ways.
The only video I've seen is an edited one, and it admits to being an edited one, so it can't be watched and voted on. End of story.
Yeah, can I just confirm that this motion is going to be the agenda point is going to be adjourned to the next full council meeting?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we move on to item 7 then, please? Councillor Gale, can we move on to item 7, please? General expenditure for approval. That's to formally agree that the payments are acceptable.
Yeah.
The payee is staffing costs, deduct their contractual and statutory payments. Obviously, it falls within GDPR, so details are withheld. Do we have a proposer to accept them? Yeah.
My,
Councillor Marshall.
my problem with the way that these are presented is that it's not clear when it says what a specific period is. I mean, on this particular line, there isn't anything to do with expenses, which is fine. So one presumes there's no expenses for.
That is correct.
There are no expenses, no.
But I think it's important that we're very clear on what the actual specific periods are.
That's the payroll going out in January.
Okay.
That's what we're voting on. The payroll going out in January. That's
I think it's quite clear on the agenda.
Yes,
thought
it
so,
says
yeah.
contractual
and statutory payments
for January.
Yeah, that's it. That's it there.
Of which I have.
So, can we have a proposal
What about
to
the
set,
other
please?
sort of like payments for general things that go out on a month by month
So
basis?
the standard, like the standing orders and the direct debits are already approved by committee, and they're just a rolling thing. So this is things that are out of the order and everything. So if we had expenses, they'd be on there, but payroll obviously has to be approved by committee.
So standing
every
order and
month.
direct debits?
That they are on a rolling programme. They've already been agreed. I can't remember what month off the top of my head, but we've already looked at them and they've all been agreed by committee and approved.
And consequently, within the monthly budget sheets, or is it the quarterly budget sheets, those items will be clearly identified? Is that right?
Where they don't cash for GDPR, we haven't taken advice.
Yeah, there are some things that have to be redacted by law, but
not to council.
But you would know because we've already had a list of all the different direct debits and things that are there.
That's the answer to my question.
Yeah.
Is there a proposal and a second, Chair?
Yes, I'm proposing.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Thank you. And second, sorry, who's second? Gary second. And the vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, right now.
And you, over to me.
Well, hang on a second. Yeah,
Right.
good, yeah. Because what we're doing here, we've got items 8, which is the update for the recommendation from the Finance Committee. Then the budget and precept recommendations, and then later on we've got the defibrillator at the Village Hall. So to make this more sensible and easier to understand, use the chair's discretion. What I'll do, there is a lot of concern about it, we'll do the defibrillator first. Basically, we did have, went before the Finance Committee yesterday, but we also did have an update from the HR facilities. They gave a report as well. So I'll do that. It's, in some ways it's historical, but it'll help you understand why we're going for the recommendations that we did. Okay? So, the history on the defibrillator, we first got this, we think, in August 2020. I think we must have had it before that, but in 2020 we found that it was in a state of disrepair. Okay, and at that time the decision was made to buy a new one, so we bought a new defibrillator. 21 to 22, we can't identify any issues with the defibrillator for a variety of reasons. Now, in 2023, a resident used defibrillator found that wasn't working. Now, we did a thorough investigation, and there was no regime in place for doing any functional testing or anything else on the defibrillator. So I think it was August, October last year, we actually started functional testing, and that's when it failed. So whether it would have failed beforehand or not, we don't know.
I don't know, because we took over in May. May, June, there was no service records, there's been no maintenance on it. But the first defib was installed in 2020. That could be for a number of reasons. That could be because at that time it wasn't something that perhaps, I don't know because I wasn't here, but that it could have been that the people that they bought the defib from didn't supply training. I don't know. We don't know.
It's training. On our training for
I don't know. Good question. I'm not sure. It should
Because if it was on our asset
When the original defib was bought, there was training held in this village hall, and quite a lot of the people attended then.
That might be, but unfortunately, we're talking about training for the village hall manager for him to service it regularly.
Yeah, he was there.
Well, he's telling us that there are no records, he didn't know what to do.
Well,
It can only go. No, not until October when it was used, unfortunately.
The fact remains we have no records, so it's all hearsay. But this leads on to why we're going down the option that we are.
Have you not got an emergency
If you
device?
just listen, we'll understand, you'll get a better
We don't get
understanding.
notified when it's used either, sir, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is why we've gone back and really investigated what is the root cause. Because we could rush out and buy another one, but actually, historically, if you go back to when it was first installed in 2020, it broke, well, when it was installed before that, it first broke in August 2020, and it took until October 20, well, it took until the October they just bought a new one. So obviously there were historically problems with that machine anyway. And then 2021, 22, we can't find any records. We could be looking in, I don't know, so I can't answer that. I wasn't here, it's not, I can't answer that. So there is nothing for us to go on, so I don't know. And then obviously, when the machine is used, we're never alerted, so we don't know. And obviously the pads are one-time use, So once they've been used, they have to be replaced. And at the moment, it could be used lots, and we don't know. So we need to look. It's not just about replacing the machine.
Excuse me, but I had at my house the next day after it was used for my mum.
Yeah.
2 people come round from the parish council.
Yeah, that's right.
Apologise.
Yeah.
You know, and you know it's going to be sorted.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
but we only know that because you notified us. But generally, if it's used.
Well, I'm sure somebody will notify if it's broken.
No, I'm talking about if it's used, because the pads on it, they're one time, so once they've been used.
No, it didn't work for my mum.
No, but we didn't know that. And
Well, it had a
and
sign on it saying out of order, so somebody must have known.
when you collected it, it had a sign saying
He did, yes. He did.
Yeah, I still took it.
Still took it for its necessary.
This-
Out of order on the side.
This is what we're trying to say, that these are issues which we need to address going forward.
If there was
We have
regular
inherited these issues.
Yeah, we have inherited, and I think
That was
if,
October. How far forward do you have to go?
So if you would kindly let us finish, you will.
but when it was replaced last time, it was on the same time scale. This is your But what? I understand your frustrations, but this is nothing new. It's the same time scale as it took to replace it last time it was broken. So, well,
So we're looking at a different system. That's
so we're looking at this, so this doesn't
You're going to get funding
Now,
for
2 or
it,
3, 4 first
aren't they?
responders. If that
You're going to
unit
get
got
funding
used,
for it.
it then get reported it had been used.
Yeah.
New battery, new pads could be ordered.
Critical, there's not one, isn't it,
But
really?
By the first responders.
But in
So
Hull-
like
4
Colin
months.
said, if you've got
4
4
months.
local first responders from local people, isn't that a good thing? Especially seeing the volunteers and the cost no money.
Yeah, that,
But if
that's already been suggested and we're looking at that.
I'm glad
But,
you came up with that idea. Well done, sir.
Colin has just explained that to us very clearly. Thank you.
I think some people forget that also. We're not getting paid for this.
Yeah.
So we all have to
We are volunteers.
Well, do this
It's
all
not
you
you
like.
doing it because you're not wanted.
Why don't you come and do it?
Right, can we, yeah.
I would want to do it.
Can we?
Exactly.
Oh, shut up then.
Right, so we have explained what the situation is. What we have to look at is the fact that there are no service or maintenance records. There's no notification to the parish council when it's been used, and there's no training to staff or the community. So we need something with a regular maintenance schedule and staff training that is needed going forward, which then went forward to the finance committee for them to look at the various options. I will now pass over to the chair of the finance committee who will explain what they
So
looked at, their recommendations.
once we had the report from facilities, we then went about looking at the options. So our options are, we can either repair it, replace it, or we can rent it. So I'm going to go through the options for the council so that they can hear those, and then we can make a decision. So,
How quickly do you intend to do that?
would you like me, if I finish, then you'll know. Investigations took place.
Well said. Well said.
I just want to know the information. I need to give you this information, and I'm trying to make it as clear and succinct as I can do. So basically, we started off investigating the repair. It's going to cost £182.50 for somebody to come out to examine it. That's just for it to be examined. We got quotes for cost of replacement pads and replacement battery. This will cost a minimum of £584, but that might not necessarily fix it. We then went on and looked at replacing it, and researchers found that for looking at a new defib plus brackets plus installation, the budget should be for around about £1,500, and that will replace the machine. The third option, now this is something that's relatively new. It hasn't been something that was been available previously when previous machines were installed. This is something new to the market completely. So now you can rent defib machines, and you don't just rent the machine. So the company that we've got, the cost is £1 a day plus VAT, £150 deposit up front, which we'll get back in a year. It's a 5-year lease programme. But this is what we get for that, and this was pretty much Finance's recommendation for many reasons. So for that, we would get full installation. I've spoken to the company today. They said it will be with us within a week, so we can have that up and running. On-site AED training for staff, so they all know, our village hall manager will know how to keep regular records, regular maintenance, so we will never get in this situation again. It includes all the adult pads and training on how to activate these pads for the community. So we run community workshops in the village hall so that you can see how to use the DFib. It won't be any different from the DFib machine that we've already got there, but it's just nice to have that bit of peace of mind and reassurance for the community. It also includes full maintenance of the machine. They come out on a regular basis and they change the battery, whether it needs changing or not, and do a full service on it, and regular on-site checks. If the DFib is broken or there are any errors on it, they guarantee they will replace it within 24 hours. So we will never be longer than a few hours without a DFib machine. It also includes resuscitation kits, so it will not just have, we won't just have a DFib machine, we'll have a resuscitation kit alongside it. That will be included in the training for the community. It will include signs, and they'll give us training links to social media that we can place on so that you guys, and our website, so that the communities can access training whenever they want to if they can't make it. It's worth noting that it is a 5-year lease, so once we're in, there will be financial implications. Obviously we'll have to pay the contract if we want to get out of it, but I think that's pretty fair as it goes. We get our deposit back of £150 after a year. And after 3 years, the price decreases by 10 pence a day. So we'll be paying 90 pence a day instead of £1. So that will decrease the more loyalty we have with them. They have said that they'll rush it through for us and they will have it done within a week. We were originally told 2 to 4 weeks, but that has now been sorted today. So the recommendation from Finance Committee when we discussed this yesterday was that we go for a higher scheme because it covers all of the concerns of the village. We could have just rushed out and bought another one and spent £1,500, but going forward, this will eliminate it. We'll know when it's being used, we'll be able to keep the maintenance going. It ticks for us, we felt, all of the boxes. So that is Finance Committee's recommendation. What do you mean? No, it won't ever go out. We'll never be in this situation again, and I think that for finance was far more important than the funding, and it will look. We've looked at budget. It's fine, so that is our recommendation.
I've got a couple of questions.
Yes.
What comprises a resuscitation kit?
Off the top of my head, I would not know.
It's not normally.
But
It's
it's
the funds at the moment.
yeah. Right. But it will be in the training. They'll show us how to use it. So therefore, whatever's in it will be reflected in the training and in the online links. So
Just for just sort of general information, that there's a misconception that a DFib starts your heart. What it actually does, it stops your heart. It'll detect an arrhythmic function, rhythm of the heart, and if it's of sufficient value, then it will actually then give the shock, and it will stop the heart, and your heart starts with a normal rhythm.
Unless you have
you'll be able to
do it. If anybody's got a heart pacer, don't use it.
Yeah, that's
could kill them.
Yeah.
Don't, anything in there, don't use it.
Yeah, the modern ones, I think.
Yeah, the automatic ones do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What? All right.
All fully automatic.
You said if you've got a pacemaker, it will kill you.
Yeah.
Actually, the modern, I don't want to interrupt as such, but modern DFib units, if you're wearing a pacemaker, as long as the parts are put in the right place, will not kill you.
It's just that we had a friend of ours who had one of these, and he
yeah,
had an attack, and we stopped the ambulance people from using it. That's why. Okay.
Thank you. I needed the confirmation.
If there's a charity that could do it, yeah, that's something we can look at. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to finish off there. The other thing is there's continuity of maintenance, which is the big issue here. If we had this in place, we wouldn't have to
Councillor Gow said about a backup for Mark, should Mark not be around, somebody else who could take over the servicing and maintenance of it. So maybe we can have up to, I think he said 12, but don't quote me on that one. It was either 10 or 12 we can have trained on the servicing of it. So maybe we could all do it.
Just a couple, because if Mark's on holiday
Yeah,
or away or whatever.
But maybe that's something we could all do as a council, maybe, possibly. But we can have up to 12 on the training for DFID servicing under the agreement.
But is it servicing or funding?
Both.
Both, is it?
It's both. It's the so it's the daily, it's the maintenance checks, the records that we need to keep. I think it remains low level stuff, so if there's something, how to know when there's something wrong with it. But we have 24-hour assistance. It's our machine is coming from Leeds, so it's yeah. So we're
yeah, I just want to ask that.
There's a chap at the back who wants to ask a question.
Oh, sorry, yes, sir.
Yeah, can I just ask on the DFID, who would be able to use it and where would it be kept for availability?
So it will go in exactly the same place as it is now. So it is
Thank you.
there.
So where is that?
It's right outside the hall on the wall.
On the external?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you ring 999, they will give you a code to get it exactly the same as before. It just will never ever be out of use. It will always be there for when people need it. But it won't. You as a community probably won't see any difference in what you've seen before. It will be on that village hall in that unit and coded off the same as it is. So that's
So that's the recommendation, the hiring recommendation from the finance committee.
Yeah. So we need that. So we need to vote on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Yeah. So okay, we're going to vote for that. Yeah.
And a seconder. Councillor Howard proposing.
Yeah, and
Who's seconding?
Councillor Snell seconded. Yeah, and then a vote.
That's a unanimous vote. You've got the you've got the contract for that, haven't you, Clark? And you'll
Yes, I have.
deal with that. Can you send that
Councillor
over?
Marshall, I might just need to clarify a couple of very minor admin details, but yeah, I've got everything there for me to go ahead.
I
And
told him.
the company can be contacted tomorrow.
Yes, well I did say to him if it was approved tonight, it'd be first thing tomorrow, and then we could he'd get it actioned for us ASAP. So if we can get on that, that'd be good. Thank you.
Right.
Congratulations, you did a thorough job and you deserve a round
So, we now go on to the update and recommendations for the finance committee on any other matters.
That's me as well.
That's you as well. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys. Right, so yesterday we had a finance committee meeting. I'm just going to really outline the brief steps of what we did going forward. These will come out in minutes and they will end up on our website the same as everything else. So discussion was made that we needed a fourth member of the committee that will be appointed as a backup data inputter, which completes the procedure to secure the bank against potential fraud and access issues. So that's aligned with our anti-fraud policy. So at the moment our bank account now has 2 signatories, so no payment can go out of an account without 2 councillors signing it. And we then decided last meeting that we needed a fourth that would be an inputter who, in the absence of our clerk, would mean that we can access the account to make payments, and that we can also have a member of committee that can continue to input data onto our bank account. So that motion was passed.
That was actually agreed last August.
Not the inputter.
The inputter was agreed last August, and I received notification that I would be the inputter, and it was all going through the bank, and then it was once again an email that disappeared. So it was agreed back then for an extra inputter.
All I can tell you is that as a chair, that there was no. I couldn't vote on it.
Yes, and I can provide the paperwork.
Right.
I can provide the paperwork. It was all agreed at that time.
Okay, well I'll see that. So I've just actioned what needed actioning. A review of the 2023-24 accounts and 24-25 budget took place, and the committee voted to recommend the precept remain the same for this financial year. This will be discussed on item 9 of the agenda this evening. Items related to the DFID were discussed and a referendum was voted on. We've just covered that one. There was a review of the village hall financials, and key points relating to this are: so at the end of December 23 there was an income of around £5,000. It's been forecast that there'll be an income of around £550 a month annually, which is approximately £6,500 a year. The village hall bookings have increased by around 43% since we took over. And we like to thank our village hall manager Mark for the amazing work that he does in running this hall and, you know, promoting the hall and getting the bookings running. Future bookings are currently looking good. The village hall makes a loss at the moment of around £4,000. I know that the last figure that was predicted was to be around a £10,000 loss. This has proven not to be the case. During that meeting, we also discussed, and we've added onto the task register, about looking for grants that could support that 4,000 loss in the hall, but we're not particularly worried about that, because actually that part of your precept is about supporting the running of the village hall, and I think £4,000 as part of that precept is part of that. Yeah, it does work about £8 something per resident. So during that meeting,
Per household.
yes, sorry, per household. So during that meeting we added 2 tasks to the tracker so they could be monitored and actioned going forward. One of those obviously is the grants, and the other one in connection to the village hall is about looking at our booking charges and doing an annual evaluation on that, which is pretty standard. A motion was passed to transfer our BT phone line to Internetti, which will now be making a saving of £335 a year. That's been passed. Oh, we're there, Colin. Number 6, after a question was raised by a resident, a review of overtime figures took place, and the committee found virtually no difference in overtime claimed in 2 comparable years. Data analysis has revealed that these comparable averages were 28.8% and, 28.8 hours per month, and 29.3 hours per month over the same period. So we took figures from one year, compared them to our current year, just to evaluate and keep on top of how much overtime is being claimed, and roughly if there's a major difference, and if there was, what could we do about it. And obviously we found that comparable years, there really isn't much difference.
In those calculations,
yes,
they also include the standing hours being the same, the regular hours being the same.
The 12 hours added back into the overtime calculation.
12 hours?
Yes. Because that's what increased. That's what's increased by.
12 hours is the increase on the standing.
12 hours a month.
Okay, so that was on reflection from that was instigated by resident questions, so we have now addressed that one. It was also agreed that we would go forward and have a focus for the month, so we would have regular analysis of operational costs, and we were going to carry these out in order to monitor spending accountability. This is going to allow comparison in terms of an operational performance matrix will be logged onto our task tracker, and the committee are now completing a review of comparable expenses and what we can do to keep those down. There is a motion, or I need to pass a motion. We discussed who that 4th member would be. We looked at the applications that we had for joining the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee would like to recommend that Councillor Howard is our 4th member, and I need to get a vote on that, please, people. First and a second. Yeah, and a vote. That's unanimous. Councillor Snow,
It wasn't unanimous.
Jones.
Councillor Gale didn't vote on that one, so it wasn't
Councillor Gale
unanimous.
vote, so it wasn't unanimous.
Okay, Councillor Gale abstain.
Yeah.
Yes, did you abstain?
Yeah, there's a reason I abstained.
Because she's always the 4th
Okay,
one.
that's fine. That's fine, we don't need to share it. Right.
I'll share with those pictures.
Do you have any hard copies that anyone can take home so we can read out?
Of what?
Of the recommendations. Do we have any hard copies to take
Recommendations, sorry, can you be a bit, recommendations of which bit?
of the budget and everything, so we can all look at it and...
Oh, okay. The full figures, the full figures, so we produce monthly accounts that are obviously on the website. That was a question we asked yesterday, wasn't it? We have got to redact certain figures for GDPR issues, and once that's done, am I right in saying that's publishable, that we're publishing that?
Yeah,
What it was agreed and proposed that on a quarterly basis, that we would be, as part of the transparency of the full parish council and the finance committee, was that the full budget monitor would be published on a quarterly basis, and as soon as, if this is agreed, and the proposed budget, if that is agreed as well, that will be published as well in the next few weeks once we get all the forms signed. The only thing that will be redacted is anything that is specific to a member of staff. Other than that, everything will be published if agreed.
Right, so if we agree that, where can that gentleman find that information? Will that be on our website?
On our website, under the financial documentation.
Right, okay, lovely.
Can I just clarify?
Yes.
You've just voted there for, I can't remember which councillor it was, to go on the committee, but if Councillor Gale was voted, she said something about August, that she was voted on in August?
That was just to be an inputter,
Right.
to put the bills onto the bank
Right.
system. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify.
Chair, are we moving on to the budget and precept?
Yeah, please, Are you running that or?
Special decision. Hang on, let me just get the data right. Oh, sorry. Anything that can be identified GDPR, so things like, normally things like staffing costs, so obviously if you're employed by somebody, you don't want everybody knowing how much you earn, so it's generally the figure, the salary that somebody's paid would be redacted for GDPR. We'd be in trouble if we publish that. That's generally normally it. That most things would be on there.
And we did check those with Erlenmeyer, who actually went to the ICO to make sure they got it right, and they are doing it correctly by doing it this way.
You're not using Horizon the same for the post office.
Best company in.
Yeah, Simon's summarising the budget.
Yes,
please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt while you were talking with Councillor Markov.
No, go for it.
The proposed budget is a very provisional one, was sent out to councillors a few months ago, and this one now is the firm recommendation of myself as RFO in regards to the proposed budget for 24-25, as well as thus including the precept. As Councillor Marshall, as Chair of the Finance Committee, has stated, the recommendation will be that the precept is kept at the same level as last year. We will not, the recommendation is not to increase it. Last year it was increased by over 60%. The proposal for this is to keep it the same. We think by careful management, we think by careful and prudent observation of what needs to spend, and any event is carefully monitored under the direction of the Chair of the Finance Committee, and including any increases that are statutory or contractual, such as the grass cutting contract that was agreed previous to this administration. There is a surplus budget, a very small surplus budget, but enough to pay for the lease of the defibrillator machine. I'm recommending thus as RFO, we keep the precept at 38,000, and as part of the total income of 44,400, which includes various VAT refunds, bank interest, of what I'm sure the Chair of the Finance Committee will state, we're estimating in the region of £300 to £400 on interest in the Hindhead County Unity. Everything else means we are looking at a surplus budget of £306, which is just about enough to pay for the defibrillator machine. All councillors have a copy of this. Is there any questions?
No, but I'm just going to add to that the key points that I highlighted during the meeting, just so that people are aware. So we have taken a few savings, things like a scribe account licence, which we now have in-house accountancy for. There was no SLCC membership this year. We've saved money on village hall leaflets that weren't needed this year. The village hall repairs came in at half the cost as that were budgeted for, so they were budgeted at 2,000, only came in at 864. The staffing salary was budgeted at nearly 23,000. It only actually came in at nearly 15,000. So there were some differences in budget which helped. One of the things that wasn't budgeted for was pensions and HMRC, and that actually came out at just over £4,900. The other thing that I want to highlight is we've transferred £10,000 into a higher rate savings account. So we now get interest on that. At the moment, with what we transferred, we'll get £260 from that towards the budget. We've earmarked further money to go into a savings account. Again, we can take this back whenever we want to, but if we put it in and leave it there, we will have around about £500 into the budget this year from that interest from those accounts, so that's been done. Yes, I forgot about publishing on the website, but I think that's pretty much between us the information on the precept.
Yeah, and you have to remember, although it was put up to 38k in 2023, it had been kept at 23,000 for the previous 3 years because of COVID. So it was held down for quite a long while before the increase this year.
Chair, is there a proposal to accept the proposed
Are we
budget?
proposing the
Yeah.
precept?
Yeah, I propose to accept the precept.
Councillor Buckingham has first did that. We've got a second. Councillor Howard second.
Vote. Unanimous vote to go with
Yeah.
that precept, yeah.
There we go, precept.
So just to confirm, the precept for North Oldbury, Granbury and Wake Parish Council for 24-25 will be 38,000, and the correct documentation will be sent into East Lindsey over the next week once the chair and I have signed the various paperwork.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
On to item 10 then, which is the planning applications received and the results. Hand over to the chair of the planning committee.
Right, only one planning application. It's planning application N13302502223, Micklemore Lakes on Main Road, North Thoresby. They're wanting to part. It's change of use from storage to form a 3-bedroom holiday accommodation. I understand there's already one on that site, so they want to make a second one. The committee recommended that ELDC consider all comments from residents and neighbours around Micklemore Lakes. We have concerns regarding disruption for residents, vehicular access movements, both on and off the existing A16, which has a history of risk of accidents in the area. The speed limit at that point is 60 miles an hour. There is at the moment on the site a 50-car park space already allocated. Giving permission for another property on there we feel could be overdeveloped and may encourage large groups of people, which could cause distress and noise for the adjacent properties inside. The holiday lodges, I would imagine, could be used 24/7, so we need to be considering, or asking the LDC to consider the neighbours and the council, the planning committee are not supporting this application.
Just to clarify, Councillor Snell, can you say the committee is not supporting you?
The committee is not, but if there are other comments from the council, that wasn't be circulated to what they I don't know.
Were you the planning chair?
It comes to the planning committee.
But you didn't circulate it to the other councils?
It's not my job to circulate it to the council.
Oh, so we used to get them on the thing before, and you could just click on them and you could search them.
That's how I found it.
It's not on here.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
I've got a question.
So this is wrong, so the clerk hasn't put it on properly.
I don't know what the clerk's There's a- done. there's There's a planning
it's
thing
there,
on
it's
here.
there.
Planning on there, but the planning application would have been sent through to everybody.
No, but not me. Not sent through to me. Usual thing, not sent through to me.
Chair, did we? Oh, Clark.
Yeah,
Clark,
it's
did
on
we
properly.
get a copy of this planning? Did it go out to everybody? A copy of the planning that?
I will need to look back at my records to be honest, anything received over Christmas or when I was away, I am not sure, so I'll need to double check my records. I wouldn't want to say either way.
I've just received, you've not received it either, no.
We don't have to put our response in until the 23rd of this month, so if we can ask the clerk to circulate it through the rest of you, then you can have a look and put your comments in.
Can I just ask, have the residents, do we know if the residents that are around it, do we know if they've
There is
made
one
an
comment on there
objection?
from a member of North Thoresby. I don't think it's my position to say who it is.
No, we can't.
I'm not. So, there is one comment on there at the moment.
Okay. Cool. Oh,
Is there a way, yeah.
Look, I mean, if it gets circulated to us and we respond to Councillor Snell for the 23rd.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, do that.
Is that acceptable, Mr Baxter?
Are we allowed to do that?
Yes, what it can be is that Councillor Snow in theory can, if she updates me, then I can use delegated authority of whatever Councillor Snow receives or tells me, should one say. So yeah, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. So effectively, we go along that option, and do we need to do anything ourselves?
No, because I can use delegated authority. So Councillor Snell, if you want, you get your replies from councillors. If you could give me a formal recommendation, then I can put it into the LDC.
Okay, can I have a time limit on having responses, please?
Yeah. Can we send the?
If councillors could get to Councillor Snell by the 18th, that gives you 9 days.
Yeah.
Can I just point out, 4 of you at least need to reply, because you need to be quoted on your decision.
Yeah, we know. Thank you.
And the others, obviously, the other councillors who can't make it, they'll be informed of it as well. So they can,
I'm just.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Thanks very much. Yeah. Right. So that's the only planning application. So
It's the only
next
one, and no responses about any others. That's the only one.
Yeah. Right, so we move on to item 12, which is the resignation of council's update on publishing vacancy and co-option. This is one complex, so I'm going to hand this over to the clerk to explain.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I wish to confirm to the council and to the community, the Chair and I received the resignations of 2 now former councillors, Mrs Helen Berryman and Mr Nigel Gove. They both resigned, citing various reasons. They wrote to myself and to the Chair, and it was accepted. I then made sure that the election team at East Lindsey District Council was aware within a few days, as we're required to do. And the process now is that the ELDC have been made aware. They've now instructed me, and we've put a notice on our website, a notice board, that the local electors are invited to request an election. If 10 registered electors of the parish write in to ask for an election will be held, and that will be at the cost of the parish council. If the 10 electors do not write in by the 29th of January, then those 2 vacancies following the resignations of Mrs Berryman and Mr Gove, they will then go for co-option should the council see fit. Because of this, we have frozen for the time being the co-option of the vacancy that wasn't fulfilled in the May election of 2023. Once we know at the 29th of January whether there has been 10 electors, then the council can decide either to co-opt 1 person in regard to the 1 vacancy, or they can co-opt 3 depending on the actual election. But everything is frozen until we know from the East Lindsey District Council that the 10 registered electors of the parish have written it in. If they do write in and their details are checked by East Lindsey, then there will be a by-election, election of candidates who put their name forward. And if there's more names than vacancies, it will then go to a full election, and the cost to the council, unfortunately, is estimated about 2,000 or 3,000. So currently there is 7 active councillors on the parish council with 3 vacancies, 1 by non-fulfilment of the election of May 23, and 2 because of a resignation of 2 now former parish councillors.
So by dragging your heels, Chair, and not allowing this to happen at the last meeting, you put the co-option off, and yet again,
told, it is a very complex situation.
We need people.
We have taken advice from the people that we have to take advice from.
Am I not good enough to sit on the council?
Sorry?
Am I not good enough to sit on the council?
Sorry, say again.
Are you deaf as well? Am I not good enough? This council.
We've just explained the situation.
No, you're wrong. Co-opt.
We have explained
You're not
the
allowed.
situation. We are trying to do this correctly.
You do.
Correctly.
You
That
don't,
is
you
the
don't,
situation.
because we've had people who have sat on this committee.
You have to
who
take the vote.
applied to be on the council and have been turned down at co-option. and
Yeah,
told
yeah
they're not.
a vote was taken and they're turned down, but you're not even taking a vote. Shrug your shoulders. It's the process. You're supposed to vote. That's not democratic, not voting.
I'll put my name forward.
We need more than one.
No, you don't. You don't need more than one.
No.
The council decided they did need it. It decided
You can't do that.
democratically. That was the decision.
No,
There's nobody better in the village than Colin Goodwin.
Yeah.
You could have co-opted him tonight and
So,
increased
Advice from
That
who?
has now actually, we have explained the situation there.
No, you haven't.
An update.
Excuse me.
Your
Can I just ask one simple question? You've just said that you could have co-opted one person. You've got a vacancy that you can co-opt, but you're not going to co-opt somebody tonight because you're going to wait for it to go to a vote. That's correct. You're waiting to see whether it goes for a vote to get 3 councillors. But you had an option to co-opt
Yeah, but
somebody
even
tonight.
if we co-opt one person, we'd still need to go for the vote, the way I understand.
So why don't we get
The
the
si-
benefits of
the
that working
situation,
with us
the
now?
situation at the moment is that it is a very complex
Well, you must
situation.
like that.
The legal matters are quite complicated. That is why we went to the ELDC, who are the deciding factor in this. It's not really our say on whether we do it this way or not. We're doing the best we possibly can. As you can see, we've had harassment and vexation comments all the way through the evening.
My only concern was at the last meeting you had quite a number of people that were ill. You've only now got 7 councillors, and if you've got 3 people ill, you're not going to be 3 or 4 people ill. You're not going to be quorum. Well, I'm not getting into whatever the police are investigating.
So
I'm just saying that you've got.
Yes, can we go to the final point?
Co-opt.
We're going to go to item
Just summarise
13.
it back up, 'cause I think it just got a bit unclear. But basically, what we don't really want is, you don't want an election cost for 3 people, I can assure you that, really. It needs to be a co-opted system.
If we can possibly get to that.
If
but
we can
need-
possibly go to that. You're not, when they said about an election, it's not a full-fledged everybody's positions up. That is not on the table here. These will all stay in place, and it's looking for potentially 3 more people. And if it went for an election for 3 people, it's going to cost the village £3,000.
Where does the figure 3,000 come from?
Election for 2 people.
So in a sense, it's back to the co-op. So how are you going to run the co-op if that option comes out the favourite? How can people put their names forward to co-opt?
We can't make a
We
decision
have
on
advertised and we only
Yeah.
had one.
No, so, okay, that's fine. So next month,
Yeah.
We might.
you will be very clear on what you're going to do, co-op, or...
I think I've got to. It needs sorted out, doesn't it?
I think a lot of people that want to be or have wanted to be part of the parish council, we're getting a lot of feedback from people saying, look, we're reading what's on the social media, and actually, why on earth would I want to be a part of that? I think we'd have a lot of applicants. I know we would, because I know of people that would like to be on if the council was stable and if we could have that peace and we could just get on with the job that most of us actually joined for. And I think that's, well, that for me, that's where I am in particular. I think we need stability so that we can pass that net and have, and I know there are lots of people who have said before there was, but the things that are posted on
for co-option now?
because they're scared, because of what's going on social media.
So is it going to be different?
Is it? I'm not posting it. I haven't posted any of it, and neither of any of us. It's got nothing to do with us. What goes on social media is by
No, that's fine, but basically everyone just
got
wants
to
to
do with
know
it.
the process, I think.
But
Yeah.
Really
Can I just highlight one potential problem?
Yeah.
If you have 5 people, if you don't
Yeah.
go to don't go to election, say you manage to get 5 people, you're then letting the parish council co-opt people on rather than it going to the electors to vote for those people. So if you go to 3 people and you go down the route of not co-opting now, you are going to make people go to an election, and that's going to cost money. You can
co-opt 2 out of the 3.
I'm not saying you should, but you have one at the moment that you can co-opt.
You do, and you should.
So why can't you now? If you're going to go to co-option anyway, why can't you co-opt that person now? Because if it goes,
Not on the agenda. You cannot.
Well, it should have been on the agenda.
This was brought up at the last meeting, the exact same thing, and you said the exact same thing last meeting.
then you're going to force people to sign. You're going to get 10 people in this village. I can tell you now, you'll get 10 people in this village that will vote for it to go to an election, because they will then try to make sure that they get the person on that they want, not the people that you co-opt.
Do we still have 2 people who are willing to be co-opted? One of them's dropped out.
Yeah, because of things that have been seen on social media.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
my point. Why would anyone want to join this?
Because for
Well, you say
the
why
good of the
would
village.
anybody want to go on? Mr.
You know,
Goodwin
I've
still
done for
wants
this
to go on
Can I
in
tell you
spite
why
of
I've
what's
actually
written on
updated
social
emails
media. So why
No,
don't
what?
you just
The
co-opt him?
emails that you've been sending.
To who?
This
To,
isn't.
well, I've received an email, and I'm not going to go into it because
Not
it's
from
to
me.
the public, and I'll have to talk to you about this independently because I'd like to clarify whether it was from you or not.
I will do, with pleasure.
But I would like to clarify it.
Tell you what, I've got my iPad here, you can look
So
at all my
you have one vacancy for co-option, and you have one person here. You have one person here that is willing to be co-opted, and you are refusing to co-opt them.
Exactly.
There's one vacancy for a co-option and there's one person here to be co-opted.
It's not how democracy works.
We will explain it again, it's writing on the website, so you can actually see.
Well, you've just guaranteed to cost this parish £2,000 in your own
We're
figures.
going to item 13 to agree the date of the next
Asking for a
meeting.
vote, aren't we?
And I would like to say, from my own personal point of view, if we had better response from the public rather than yelling at us about social media posts which are completely out of response, bullying of people online, you might have had more people in the village. In fact, you would have had more people in the village putting their names forward.
There's somebody waiting right now.
It's not.
With a bent clerk.
It is not.
People don't want to work with a bent clerk.
That's Mr. Baxter.
Yes, please minute it because I stand by it.
Miss Gale, I'll see you around sort of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
You should have said allegedly.
We'll go on to item 13 to agree the date of the next PC meeting.
On the date of the next PC meeting, out of the last 5 meetings, 2 have been moved around. So are we going to go back to being steady?
We are putting it, the date that has been moved forward is the 12th of...
Can you remind Councillor Gale, section 3A applies to her as well?
Okay,
You know what you can do with your numbers, Mr.
What's
Baxter?
3M? Does that duck say?
The 12th of March is the date that has been put forward as one that we can all meet. Maybe give time.
Yeah.
12th of March is the next parish council meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Don't need to be every month.
They're keeping you out, aren't they? Yeah, keeping you out till then.
Here where we're getting.
Don't blame us.
Yeah, we have got committees where we do all this stuff and then bring it forward so you can get it all in one.
Where are the minutes for those committees?
Will be working.
One of them only happened yesterday,
So,
And the rest?
well and well, that's not going to come out today.
There's no transparency on this council.
No.
the date that has been proposed is the 12th of March for the next meeting. Do we have a proposal for the
Yes,
next meeting?
I propose March.
I will second that date.
12th of March.
A vote on 12th of March.
Yeah.
Councillor Buckingham.
Yeah. You vote on 12th of March. Yes, no? Yeah.
Yeah.
I object. I object because you are falling short of your responsibilities.
Right, so that
Yeah.
is, no, councillor Gale,
I object.
says no.
Okay, is there a majority?
There is majority, yeah, 4 yeah.
Could you hold a vote then?
Right, thank you very much. And close the meeting at this point. Okay, that is the meeting closed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just wow. Unbelievable.